But I think
But then that's
evolutionary biology says that. I don't think it's just my personal opinion. I don't think, but like
Probably who you just surround yourself with.
yeah, like,
that's
that's just
just your
saying. It's
preference.
like just because you've grown up in a certain area where like people are like that, because like I could say the same thing, but on the other side, where I've seen plenty of people and plenty of relationships where like that wasn't the case, but then they're like sexually fine, you know, that they're perfectly fine, their polarity is completely fine, and they're happy. And I could say the same thing. I could keep going at you saying that like, oh, because of what I've seen or what I've experienced, dominant men, it won't work. But then that's dumb because there are cases where dominant women do work, but there's also cases where it doesn't.
no, it's all.
When they're
It's just so it's so odd. It's such an odd conversation to have. I don't know why they didn't just like have this conversation with like alpha dogs versus like alpha women, I guess, or something. Because like there's no women involved here to like defend their humanity almost. Where it's just a bunch of bros getting together and be like, you know, no, actually submissive women are the shit. Or like, what is the concept of a submissive woman? Like, I still, like, I know what they talk about. I know what the alpha dogs mean when they say that shit. Right? But it's like kind of stupid. Not even kind of stupid. It's very stupid. To just like categorize a woman's traits and behaviors in such a one-dimensional way.
It's all
happy, they're
correct.
probably not going out saying, I'm so happy, I'm dominant, I'm a woman. They're not going around saying that. You know, they're just happy. They stick to themselves most of the time when they're that happy.
I am great at sex.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, bro. Fucking yeah.
I mean, I have a lot to learn.
I mean, it's odd. Like, who the fuck would be like, nah, man, I'm dog shit at sex? That's like kind of a silly question. You know what I mean? I'm fucking doo-doo, son. I'm fucking so bad at sex, dude. It's crazy.
So what are we discussing?
Damn, the one alpha dog said.
right now.
Bro, this was a chance to redeem yourself.
No, I know, but it's just.
All right.
Actually, I'm gonna go back.
With my partner, my wife, I'm able to not only
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the alpha dogs are probably not very good at sex. Okay. Just like, dude, listen. If you're that much of an alpha dog, if you're looking for like submissive women, i.e., bitches, right? Then you're 100% sports fucking. You're not eating pussy. You do not care about your about the desires of your partner. Okay. I'm making a lot of assertions here. Maybe they will tell me I'm wrong, but I do feel like a lot of this alpha shit comes from being kind of selfish. And the reality is that if you're selfish, you're probably going to encounter a lot of people who like lie to you, and maybe make you feel like you're doing a great job. Yeah, they're jackhammers, exactly. Fucking, like, I would go so far as to say that communication is more important. Like, understanding your partner's needs and not being selfish is literally more important than what the most common things are about sex. Like, right? Like going long, dick size, all this shit. Like, no, what literally matters most is communication, treating your partner with kindness and respect, and understanding what they want, and allowing them to open up, allowing them to be confident enough to be able to like trust you enough to tell you what they want, what their desires are, or even be able to experiment. As a matter of fact, that takes a lot. Not easy. You know, if you're the big dog, you know, if you're alpha dog, you're probably not doing a lot of that because you don't really treat women with a lot of respect. So I suspect you're just getting in there. You got some things that you know that you think you've gotten like positive reinforcement out of. Don't know if it's good or not. And you just keep doing that over and over again, thinking like, I'm the alpha dog. Why don't you have a life-size mirror next to your bed? I want to see myself fuck you.
connect physically, but also emotionally. You know, and then I think that's the biggest trick I've learned. Not trick, but the thing I've learned about my years of being with my partner. You have to sort of like keep the spice going.
I would say, I think the fact that we have a woman who keeps coming back or who keeps wanting it, I think that, that's a sign that she thinks you're great at sex. You know what I mean? Because she actively wants to keep it going and keep it going in that direction. I will say though, I'm better at sex with women I care about. Yeah, so I think, and me being a player and a guy.
Yeah, he's like literally slowly, maybe not even personally understanding what he's saying, but that is the realization that like, yes, what do you mean women I care about? You're like, yeah, no shit. That's because it's that you have seen this person numerous times, and that person is, for one reason or the other, maybe a little bit more comfortable with you, which is wild, but I'm sure it has happened. Women do have really low standards. Let's be real. This is not exactly a target-rich environment for a lot of fucking top shelf dudes. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I say this all the time. The bar is very low. Okay, even that guy has somehow cleared it.
Guy who goes out and talks to a lot of different women. If with my girlfriend or like my wife or whatever like that, sex would be great. With the other girls, it can still be good, but I know that I don't really put in that much effort because it's almost like I'm masturbating with someone.
And eventually, you know your partner's like comfortability, what they like, what they don't like, and things, and that's how you make sex a lot better instead of like sleeping with.
Right. 1,000%. Plus, you love them.
Right.
Like, so you knew if you were gonna die today and you could have sex with one person before you die, it would be that person. Right. Like, no matter what. Like, you could have every supermodel, every movie star, everything. Like, fuck all that. Like, I want that person.
Focus so much on like what they like as well. Like you're kind of there to like pleasure them. Because you care about them so much.
Right.
Which is why like you would hyperfixate on like what do they like, what they don't like, and you can easily like adjust yourself and put in effort for that person.
And like, for instance, it's so true that you said that, because my wife and I, we have this thing we call the love menu. Okay, why did we invent the love menu? We invented.
Oh my God, this dude he's like every fucking like crunchy granola stereotype, dude. I mean, I like him. I mean, he seems like a fun dude, but also at the same time, it's like he's such a hippie dad, dude. It's fucking crazy. Like everything that he's brought up so far has been ridiculous. Like we got a love menu.
The love menu because we have 3 children, and they're only 2 years apart. They're in the mid-20s now, but think about it: 2, 4, 6 at home, and I'm working, and she's doing her thing. So we found that in our young relationship, sometimes the other person might be tired and like but that's hurt feelings. That makes you kind of do this type of thing. So what we did is we come up with a love menu of like, here's the appetizers. I might not be ready for the full course tonight, but here's your appetizer because I know you like this, or here is your dessert, or here's your main course meal. And we broke it into those things. So when we do come to each other and we need that connection, it's not just like, I'm tired, I don't feel like it. It's kind of like, well, what's going to happen? We have a full course meal tonight, or we're just going to have some appetizers. And that's kept it spicy for us. And also, like what you say, making sure we're pleasuring each other. It's not just.
This guy gives Dale's wife the love menu every night. John Redcorn. Dude, stop. What the fuck? Oh no, Dale Gribble.
Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. I need to get my rocks off. But like, how are you feeling about that? And how are you feeling about that? Because when you're in a long-term committed relationship, you have to do that or it dies.
God damn it, Bobby.
I love that. I love that you talk about the amount of intention that you live with in regard to making sure that you're always evolving with it, always making sure that.
By the way, it was either going to be like the betas were going to be unbearably fucking cringe, or they were going to be like significantly more confident than the alpha dogs, and it's been a mixture of both, really. But like, it's just like sometimes they come across as unbearably cringe, and most times they come across as like very, very confident, like much more confident than their alpha dog peers.
That's spicy. You just care. I think if you have a genuine care for the other person that you're involved with, then maybe you're not great right then and there, but it will eventually develop into being something that way. So I love that care that you demonstrate with that.
I'm interested in what you had to say. You've been very quiet on this one. You're usually like.
All he said was, look at the receipts, He knows it.
and look, and that's a very important thing, right? Is so I think that as a man, I hate to say, actually I don't hate to say,
Yeah,
that
I
you
don't think
should
this
come
guy's
in
ever.
confidently.
This guy has never hated to say anything. Okay. Seems to me like he's not the type of guy who ever hates to say anything. He just says everything.
And I do find, by and largely, it's kind of like you could have the alpha beta argument. I do that thinking coming in kind of in a dominant way. There's a reason 50 Shades of Grey is so popular. There's a reason it's the most read book of all time. There's a reason there's detail in it. And I think you can say so much to a woman in sex without saying a word. You know what I'm saying? It's about how you touch her, how you have your hands on her, the way you take over her in that way. And that's okay. Just knowing and seeing that expression and seeing things that happen, and as a result of that, is enough for me to know where I stand on.
Okay, this man's understanding of like sexuality and women's sexual desires is just so bad. Like it's like a 55-year-old repressed man. Okay, 50 Shades of Grey. It's like, yeah, in another world, if he wasn't doing like the MLM shit and he actually struck gold, he would be doing the MHUD classic videos that he finds on TikTok of like dudes in the Midwest who like love wearing a 3-piece suit without the actual blazer and the, like over the fucking 50 Shades of Grey movie dialogue, doing like weird BDSM moves that they think are like super sick to get all the Barbara pussy in a fucking 30-mile radius. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyone that fucking says like, yeah, 50 Shades of Grey, brother, women love that shit. This is the type of guy who says shit that sounds more like a threat than sexy. Like, I would eat you out for hours. Ew, dog, get a sip of water.
On the subject.
The only thing I disagree with you about is I agree with that energy, that take control energy. And I think when women does love that. But sometimes my wife likes to take control. And I love it.
Well, get up there, girl. Get up there, girl, and do what you got to do.
You know, like
I'll put my hands behind my head too. Yeah, cowboy. Hey, don't worry. Yeah, but by and largely, yes. And then when she wants to, but even when you're on bottom, man, you still doing work, bro. It's all about dancing, bro.
I don't want to get naked, but I have sex tattooed on my chest. Can I?
Bro, it wouldn't take much.
No, it's right here on my rib.
Okay. All right, and it's like an old one too, not even like a.
I think the biggest thing I've ever heard from my sexual partners is like, "Wow, you really caught me off guard," and I think that's like a big part of it.
What does that mean? No. They're like, damn, you're worse than I thought I was gonna be. Like, what the fuck's he saying? Oh my God, dude. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. I don't want to even think about it.
Is this like an argument with myself?
Tell us why you're terrible at sex.
You missed it. He stripped.
No, I did see that. I saw it. I disagreed because I just feel like it's such a typical conversation and belief that every guy believes are great at sex. And to be real, when I talk to my girlfriends, none of them have good sex with guys unless it's, like you guys said, your partner. Then you can...
This guy's the most normal alpha guy, by the way, which is like a little bit uncharacteristic of like the average alpha dog. You know what I mean? Like he's not wrong. Also, like you can have great sexual chemistry with one person and nothing with another person. You know what I mean? Like there is no like I'm consistently the best at sex across the board. You know what I mean? Yeah, there are best practices, certainly. You know what I mean? There are best practices, but ultimately, like, it's not going to always work. Have you ever had bad sex? Of course I have. But sex is a lot like, for guys, sex is a lot like pizza for the most part. I know there's a fucking cliche to say, but even bad sex is still, you know, fine. It's still good. It doesn't take much is what I'm saying, okay? It doesn't take much, for me at least. Maybe not for everybody. So, but yeah, I have certainly had, I've certainly had, you know, not great experiences.
You can get better at it, right? And you know what they like. So that's what I mean. Like, I think I'm great with my girlfriend, but if I was to generate and say, like, I'm great at sex, I'd be like, oh, I didn't, you know, almost every girl I slept with before probably never even got off really. But to say like, I'm great at sex, I can bring a dildo in, like, it's just like, I mean, I'm nothing against that. Like, I like all kinds of things. I didn't mention a dildo. Why'd you look at me like
I was wondering why you said that.
No, I'm just saying that, like,
You still looked at him.
you look like the type. No, I'm kidding. I didn't mean that. But it's like, I just feel like, there's a lot for me to learn even now with my partner, and I just like to say I'm great. I don't say that to myself because I think that blocks me from something that I might not be good at, actually.
No, I agree. I completely agree with the aspect that, like, honestly, there's always room for growth. Like going around thinking that you're like the best is like is not something that I agree with, but more so that, like, especially with someone that like a partner, like that you actually want to give the effort into, you learn. Like, it doesn't always have to go like perfect the first time. You pick up things. Like, everyone's different. Man and woman. So, like, honestly, like, it's.
But that's what when that question says I'm great at sex, like that to me tells me you could line up 10 girls and 9 out of 10 you would know exactly what to do.
Sometimes
with
it's just like a confidence thing. Like, I am confident that I can achieve good sex.
Exactly.
Shut up, bro. You're beta. No, you can't do that. You can't have it both ways, dog. You said you're beta.
Right. Because that's what I'm saying. Because the thing.
Seems alpha to me. Okay. What is this? My man pulled out the sex tattoo. I can never take him seriously after that. Okay.
Thing is, I look at it like, because you're saying, well, being the best, you can't really say being the best, but I disagree. I look at it as I am the best, but I'm choosing to be great with this person. And so what I'm saying is I can be really great with this one other girl, but I choose not to. And I do that purposely. And the reason why I do it purposely is because, like I was saying earlier when we were talking about friends with girls and all that other stuff, is that women have to earn good dick. That's how I look at it. You understand what I'm saying? So if I'm with a woman where I just met you at the bar and we're just hooking up, I'll give you some, like, I should say women should earn great, but I'll give her some good, but it ain't gonna be great because you haven't earned it. You're not my girl. You haven't done anything.
You're not gonna go the extra mile for her.
Right? Exactly. I'm not gonna go the extra mile for a new girl. Like,
I agreed with the. I agree with the mentality, but then not the stage of it.
Right. I'm just not gonna do all that for a new girl. I'm not gonna do that. So I can't. What I'm saying is that the greatness comes from within you to know that you can, but you have to make the decision to do that. And I think most guys, if they care about a woman, they'll do that because that woman in some form of fashion has earned that type of energy from him. And that's how I look at it.
It's like, I completely agree, but I just want to change the word earn to something else. Something similar, but that means a little different. Because, like, you don't want to give as much effort to, like, other people that you don't really you see, like, long-term with. But then, like, obviously, if it's, like, a partner or someone that you can see a future with, you know that you can keep, improving. You can be, like, the best, for that person.
Who thinks that great sex is more mental or more physical? Which one would you raise your hand?
Well, which one? Say
Okay.
one of them.
Who thinks that great sex is more mental?
I mean, I think it's more mental.
Okay. Okay. Who thinks great sex is more physical?
The reason why I sat down and then I stepped back is because stepping down, sitting down, it was just kind of like that societal pressure of, we all agree, like, men have to be really great at sex. And I had to check myself out of my ego and take a step back because it can't be 9 out of 10. It has to be 10 out of 10. I know I've had, one night stands, and I can't account for every single partner that I've had if they had a great experience or not. I could just be honest with myself and say I did my best, but, for whoever is going to be my partner next, you have to have that, like, that sense of, like, open-mindedness in a way, because what they might think they want from you to make you great, you might not agree with even trying. I get what you're saying about women having to earn great, but I feel like at the same time,
why is it so funny coming out of your mouth?
I feel like I told you I'm a comedian. I feel like at the same time, women's needs are a lot different than men's in bed. So what might be, easy for you, like a quick 1-2, they're expecting, maybe more foreplay or more physical intimacy, or, and with the whole, like, BDSM with, like, 50 Shades of Grey, I think that appeal to like a certain subset of women and their fantasies, but I don't think that accounts for all women.
I think it's a great fantasy, but I think if you put most women like really say, do you want that? They'd be like, I want that.
Nah, they really want it.
Women should not be in position of power.
Game over. Just like his hat says.
I'm the only one. I think a woman can
Brave, dude. Thank you. Real alpha dog behavior, dude. Thanks, man. Thank you
be
for
in a
that.
position of power only by herself,
Brave.
but not in relation to being in a relationship with a man. Because when she's in a relationship with a man, the man has to be the leader. The man has to be the one that's guiding the situation, directing the situation. If it's in any other situation by herself with work, you know, with her friends or whatever, she can do whatever she wants to do.
Game over. Your game is over.
I first want to ask, because there was a lot of like has to, have tos, but like not really a reason behind it. Like, can I ask, like, what's your reason behind like why a man has to be in the power, like in power? Why can't a woman be in power?
Power is such a weird word. I'll say more like the leadership role. And the thing is that a man has to lead a woman. He has to guide a woman, because what happens is that when it's the opposite, when a woman is leading that man, she usually loses respect for him. When she's in a relationship with a man who is, you know, under her, who's submissive to her in a lot of different situations, then she starts to lose respect for him because she's looking for a man to lead and guide her. If you notice, they have sex with the bad boys, but then the nice guys get tossed to the side. You see, like, why is that?
Well, if you look at them psychologically, they have past traumas and issues probably. But like, look, there's women for you, right? I mean, like, you're on a different scale. What I would say, some women want a guy like you because they don't want to do anything, right? They don't want to take that position. I'm around a lot of women who don't want that. They're in positions of power, not just in work, career, at home. I know a lot of them. I do business. I find women much more pleasant to do business with. But when you're talking about maybe being at home, I don't know. It's just like, I think when you get into your part, your end of the pond, it can get a little bit mucky. You know what I mean? And I don't really subscribe to that as well.
I heard you say you were from New York. I lived in Manhattan for 30 years as a fashion designer in the heart of Manhattan. She was working as a fashion editor. I held it down with the 3 kids. I was the one bringing the money home. I was the one doing that. After my son, my youngest, went back to school, she went back to work. I always wanted to have my own collection. She was like, you should do that now. So guess what? She had the job. She paid the bills while I was building my company. So I could be strong in our relationship and be a man in our relationship, but I also got to know what it means to have a partner next to me and not someone that I have to lead.
Well, I think it's really, really important to specify what leading means. And so right now we're talking about, you talked about, okay, we do the chores. Sometimes she pays more, sometimes I pay more. I think it's looking at a really superficial level. I think what you look at in a relationship, when you look at leadership and the one that is following per se, is who's the one holding down the emotional space? Like, who has the capacity to show up as the rock the majority of the time in a dynamic? And if that is the woman, I believe, for the most part, the polarity gets thrown off and there will be a deficiency in the sexual attraction that she'll have for you. If you are more excessively emotional and unstable than your...
I'm not going to lie. I have a take here. After listening to fucking 41 minutes of this shit, I've realized that the whatever style podcasts have actually figured out the formula down to a fucking T. This is kind of boring, in my opinion, because they're like being earnest, they're being honest. A lot of their takes are stupid, but like they're not necessarily fun when they're just like talking to whoever they perceive as betas, right? Like it's not very entertaining. They're just kind of boring. They're just kind of dudes who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, have like unhinged takes, but aren't actually going as aggro as they normally would be when they're in front of women that they consider to be like shitty and lesser than them, that are talking back to them. And that should never happen because you're an alpha dog, like, you know, a beta woman. You know who's the ultimate beta? A woman, right? That's the ultimate beta. Worse than a man, right? So it just feels like very tempered. And they're more so focused on coming across like fucking normal and still failing to do so in many respects, but it's just not very entertaining. It's, as a matter of fact, it's so boring that I forgot to run the top of the hour ad break at the top of the hour. I think the other reason why is because they have no sigmas. No omegas, no sigmas. But don't worry. If you want to be a sigma male at the top of the hour and avoid those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 over free with the Twitch Prime. Or connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Okay? Use it on your favorite broadcaster. You can also get gifted a sub if you are lucky. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
Your wife, I do believe that's going to lead to issues in the relationship.
A man's job is to be the mountain that a woman's emotional waves crash into, like straight up. So women are always going to be more emotional than men. Men should be the stable ones. Men don't need to be crying in front of women. And ideally, they're not splitting chores. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I think that if a woman cannot look up to you in some way, then she cannot respect you. And if she cannot respect you, she cannot love you.
I totally disagree.
Yeah.
Totally disagree.
Yeah. So, and the only reason I didn't come sit down is because I have some really, really good women in leadership roles in my businesses, and they are absolute leaders. Now they might lead under me, but I think they stand alone as leaders, and I respect them enough that I would never come sit down over that particular statement because it's too vague. But in the relationship, yes, sir, I do agree that a man should be the leader. He should be the breadwinner, and he should be the one solving all the problems out in the world and emotionally at home.
I'm glad again that you two say for work it's fine, but when it comes to our relationship, I got to be the one to wear the pants. And okay, let's not say pants. We'll use the person's words. I got to be the mountain that her emotions crash into. I hate to tell you guys, we can be very emotional too, and I know there's a lot of guys in my 55 years that are way emotional than some of these women out here now that are taking charge. So I think that's
I agree with you. I agree with you. They are, but if you notice,
and I don't think it hurts the relationship either.
And if you notice, isn't it weird that nowadays they're talking about all these single, sexless men and all these guys having issues? Why do you think that is?
They're becoming more emotional than ever.
Exactly.
I think women are putting up with less bullcrap.
No, they're not
putting up.
I am not a sexless single guy.
No, I'm not saying you.
No, I'm just saying this. But
No one said you were.
my girlfriend is an emotional rock for me.
That's what I mean.
I'm sorry, but I gotta strongly disagree with everything you say. I'm also a breadwinner right now. It wasn't always like that though. She's going through a time and she wants to actually do something for herself, and I totally support that. But when it comes to an emotional, whatever you just said, that analogy, look, I mean, I think that's the problem also with a lot of toxicity that goes on, because a lot of men have emotions, you don't know how to express it, and then it turns into this opposite toxicity. How do I know this? I used to be one of them.
Me too.
Like it shows that a lot of these like rich millionaires are the ones that like have huge high divorce rates and things of that sort. And I think it's because they're just genuinely unhappy. Like, is your woman with you for your security, or did they actually like you as a person? And we're starting to see that, women want me at first, but I don't think it ends well, because after a while, like, they want you for your security. They don't want you for who you are as a person and things of that sort. And that's why we see these millionaires and all these, like, really alpha males getting high divorce rates, because I think at first it starts off with, like, security.
Money doesn't make you alpha.
Yeah, I think so.
No, not at all, man.
This guy's like a little bit more normal than Andrew Tate, which doesn't take much. Like, he's not as he's still deeply insecure, you could tell, but he's not as insecure as Andrew Tate, but he's still deeply insecure. The guy in the blue suit is a Facebook quote generator. Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's a big market for that. There's a lot of dumb dudes out there, man. And out of the alphas, he is actually the most normal, and makes the rest of the alpha dog group look not as like ridiculous in comparison, because like at first my automatic assumption is like, oh, if you call yourself alpha, you're ridiculous. I mean, he's actually like a normal dude. But I would like to have the blue suit guy on if I were to debate any of these dudes or talk to them.
You educate me. That's why I came here.
A man can just be friends with an attractive woman?
Can?
Cat.
No technicalities, bro.
So I think it's all about, again, as we've been saying before, it's all about choices. I think if you find a woman attractive, it depends on, are you going to choose to pursue her or not? But for some of us, like if we're speaking from personal experience, I've met many attractive women, and that's not the only thing that, I'm looking for. It's also about personality. So she can be a 10, but if it's like the personality is just, someone who doesn't challenge me on a spiritual level, emotional level, someone who also is like emotionally unavailable, like, then it doesn't really matter.
I have friends who I would consider very attractive, but then at the same time when I think about it, I wouldn't be able to stand like being alone and
This is my favorite question. A man can just be friends with an attractive woman. Not capable, dude. I got that dog in me. I got that fucking dog in me, dude. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, bark, bark. You know what I'm saying? No shot, brother. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
room with them for like more than like 10 minutes, you know what I mean?
I can acknowledge if like certain female friends of mine are attractive, but doesn't mean I'm like sexually attracted to them. And it comes to a point where like I see them as like sisters or just such close friends that even like the thought of them naked like grosses me out, because like I just don't see them that way. I see them as like very close, like almost like family in some cases and things of that sort. And sometimes like you grow up with certain women and you see them as like a sister or you see them as a close friend, and you just grow up and you don't see her like that.
Fundamentally, what's natural and what is possible, I think, are two different things. Is it natural to not be attracted to a very attractive woman to you? I don't think so. But with a lot of intention with it, and your priorities are elsewhere, and you're very intentional with how you're showing up in that space, I think you can do it. And I think that was the question, if it can be done, not if it's natural or not.
If I'm attracted to you, honestly, I'm trying to smash. You understand? We gotta have sex, and we have to be in.
What you see is what you get with this guy. What, is she poo-poo? Yeah. I don't know where, wait, oh, here. She pooped? Oh. She pooped. We're very excited. As well. A little bit, 5 minutes in the crate and all of a sudden this is a different dog. You know what I'm saying? This is the dog I got in me. I got that dog in me, and the dog is Kaya. Bark, bark, bark.
Some type of sexual situation, or I don't really want to, interact with you. On top of that, I don't believe in giving women non-sexual attention unless we're in a relationship. And the reason why is because I feel like non-sexual attention from a man towards a woman is very valuable.